the NBA regular season. That is our focus right now. With just 5 more days remaining, Sunday, the regular season finale day for all 30 NBA clubs. All 30 teams will have played their 82nd game by the close of Sunday, which means the postseason on the horizon. A play-in tournament around this time next week. I think it starts on Wednesday, then the true playoffs after that in the NBA. We will do a lot of postseason looks in this second hour to begin. In DRS, just over 2 weeks away from one of your favorite events in Green Bay, Wisconsin, the 2025 NFL Draft, in some shifting and moving markets in the last 48 hours at the top of the NFL Draft to break down.
Do we have a snow date as well, just in case maybe it snows too much in Green Bay at this time of the season?
Though, don't you think?
Move it back, move it indoors. Do you remember, by the way, and again, it's not too long ago, the COVID draft where Roger Goodell was in his basement? Yeah. I mean, we've come a long way.
I think they did a really good job with that. I'll remember that moment for a long time. Bill Belichick's dog drafting for the New England Patriots.
What a time.
Like, it's kind of crazy the NFL throughout all of COVID and that 2020 campaign and with everything, even in the offseason calendar, like, they didn't miss a beat.
No, they didn't. And I remember, like, growing up, like, it was always in, like, New York City, Radio City, Music Hall. And it's like, you know what? It's the bigness of the event. And the NFL is like, you know what? We're going to take this worldwide and just go city to city and have millions of people show up and enjoy themselves. Yeah. Even in, like, cities like Detroit where they even have 1 million people there. It was packed.
Or it's on a comeback. You watch your mouth.
I don't know.
I will say, though, it is crazy because we talk college basketball, right? And we always say, well, there wasn't a 2020 NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
We talk about the 2020 campaigns, the NBA in the bubble, the MLB, the shortened sprint that was 60 games. You don't need any asterisks for what happened in 2020 in the National Football League. They remain king. Let's look at the championship odds for this year around the association. We reset the title odds and where things stand with fewer than a week remaining in this regular season. The Oklahoma City Thunder, who have the best record at this moment, have already clinched the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, are the title favorites at plus 170, 15 cents in front of the reigning NBA champs in the Boston Celtics at plus 185. Donnie, this has been the NBA Finals that we have expected, and this is what the odds makers are still expecting that we see. Just a 15-cent gap between the Celtics and the Thunder on the FanDuel.
And I don't think it's going to change all that much. Like, you're already taking a look at games like, OKC got blown out by the Lakers, which we'll review a game tonight where it's going to be maybe payback on deck for them. But you see the plus 170, the plus 185, then the Cleveland Cavaliers pulling up the rear there, so to speak, there for only 3 teams at a 5-1 price. Regardless, it looks like the Cavaliers, obviously the number 1 overall seed in the East. You're going to have, obviously, also the Oklahoma City Thunder, number 1. And the Boston Celtics, we know the tried and true tradition. Last year, world champions, coming into the playoffs somewhat healthy at this point. They'll be okay as well. So if you're saying, is there value right now towards the end of the regular season? There really isn't, because we understand where these teams are going to fall, and they're just jockeying right now, not for position, but just to get their rotations correct and also be healthy once the playoffs start.
Donnie, something we have harped on the entirety of this NBA regular season with how prolific and historic the Cleveland Cavaliers have been in their wins this season. It's 62-16. They've cooled off a little bit in the last 2 weeks. They haven't officially clinched the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference just yet, but with a 4-game lead with only 4 games remaining and as a 12-point home favorite tonight in the land against the Chicago Bulls, the Cavaliers' magic number to be that 1 seed is 1. That would be 1 victory tonight against the Bulls. And that's something we have discussed. I would still say, if you are looking for a spot that maybe you can find some value, you give the pedigree and, of course, all of the championship experience to the Boston Celtics at a plus 185 price to win the NBA title out of the Eastern Conference. But the Celtics are not going to have home floor advantage. They've actually been much better on the road this year than inside TD Garden. The Cavaliers will be the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, and if Oklahoma City gets to that NBA championship set against anybody, including the Cavaliers, OKC will have that home floor advantage.
Exactly, and that's the key here. You want Game 7 in your building, which theoretically you can say, like, just put it in the back of your head. Okay, we can lose every single road game as long as we win our home games, and nobody can do anything about it. We'll be world champions at this point. That is a great thing to have. Now, we understand how good the Boston Celtics are as a team and are on the road. We'll see if the Cleveland Cavaliers, are they just regular season tough? Can they enter into the playoffs and knock down some competitive teams? We talked about, like, the New York Knicks finally getting healthy at the right time in the season. By the way, big game tonight in the Garden as well against the Boston Celtics. We'll hit a little bit later in the show. The Los Angeles Lakers, and all of a sudden the Warriors started to make a comeback here in the top 5 now at an 18-1 price to win it. But, of course, the focus is going to be, and the questions will always come up, we know Boston's built for this. They won it last year. The Cleveland Cavaliers, are they the paper tiger of the regular season? I don't think so. I think there's a legitimate chance they can wind up in the NBA Finals. But the question marks always will be for OKC. Expectations were to have a good basketball team. I don't know if expectations were as high as we're going to be the best record in the NBA as we start to make our move toward a championship. That'll be a fun one to play out, but those questions will be there right up to the day where they possibly win it.
There's no doubt about it, right? It's a new guard. It's a new era atop the Western Conference where Oklahoma City reigns supreme at this moment. They're a minus money favorite, near $1.50 price to win that Western Conference crown. But last year, OKC in a 6-game series against the Dallas Mavericks lost in the second round. And so can the Thunder now learn from that postseason lapse and take their lumps and move it forward this season? That is what we will. Yes, DRS, I think if we looked at value outside of those top 3 teams, OKC, Boston, and then Cleveland, because you have to triple the price of the Cavaliers, then add on a few dollars of change to even get to the Lakers or the Warriors. Is there any team outside of the top 3 that would be worth a sprinkle as we enter this final week of the regular season?
Yeah, look at the Rockets. 90-1 on the Rockets. They're the number 2 seed in the Western Conference, and they're 90-1 to win an NBA championship. Are we just saying they are the ultimate paper champion of the regular season? Like every one of their wins doesn't count, and no way they can compete in the playoffs because, what, a team like the Denver Nuggets who's skidding down the stretch, you'll be able to easily dispatch them. The Los Angeles Lakers that show points of, hey, we're really good, and then step back and say, ooh, I can't believe that the Lakers lost that game. So for me, outside of the Clippers, which you know I like at 43-1 as it sits right now at the FanDuel Sportsbook, 90-1 is insane. Like, what other sport can you put the number 2 seed in any conference and say it's almost 100-1 to win a championship? I don't get it.
I bet the Houston Rockets before the All-Star break at a 17-1 price to win the West, because at that point, they were the 2 seed. I was just hoping they would host an opening round playoff series so I could cash out maybe with a couple of dollars of profit. The price has gotten longer by $11, and they have clinched the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Are we really? I mean, I guess it's the idea that the 7 seed is probably going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm not so sure. The Rockets are going to be a hefty opening round underdog with home floor advantage against any of the teams that could emerge from the play-in tourney. A lot to figure out, though, around the Western Conference. The Lakers have a 1.5 lead over the Nuggets for that 3-4 split. The Clippers only a half game back of the Nugs as well. And, Donnie, when you look right now at 5 through 8, 46-32 the Clippers, 46-32 Golden State, 46-32 Timberwolves, 46-32 Memphis. All 4 of those teams 5 through 8 right now, tied with the exact same record.
Yeah, it's incredible. And again, you're jockeying for major positions. Like, okay, we'll set up and lose 1 seed line. You're either in the playoffs officially in the top 6, or you're playing a play-in game. You don't want to have the play-in game. You want to be in that top 6. So for a couple games left, those would be the teams to watch down the stretch in must-need situation with wins.
We'll look at the Western Conference playoff picture up next, live right here on TEL. Live right here on this Tuesday morning on the early line on SportsGrid. Just 5 days remaining in the NBA's regular season. So we go conference by conference to look at where the playoff picture stands right now and what is still at stake over this final week of the NBA regular season. Of course, in the Western Conference, the Oklahoma City Thunder about 2.5 weeks ago already clinched that number 1 overall seed. They have a 12.5 game lead in front of the Houston Rockets. I said the Rockets had already clinched the number 2 seed. Technically a little bit still more at stake. The Rockets a 3.5 game lead with only 3 games remaining. If they were to lose their final 3 and the Lakers were to win their final 4 in a row, it would come down to some tiebreakers. We don't expect that to be the case. Houston should be the 2 seed. We'll talk about their odds to win the conference crown in just a moment because they keep getting worse seemingly week over week, which is crazy. The Lakers, led by LeBron and Luka, a 1.5 game advantage over the Denver Nuggets for the 3 seed. Denver in a tailspin. The last week, they have dropped 4 straight games, DRS, where in 2 of them, Nikola Jokic has recorded the first ever 60-point triple-double in NBA history, and most recently, a 41-point triple-double in the Nuggets' recent loss on Sunday against the Indiana Pacers. And then the story that you see there, 5 through 8, the Clippers, Warriors, T-Wolves, Grizzlies, all with the same exact record with just 4 games left, 46-32.
Yeah, you got to perform at this point in the year. And also, the troubling point about the Nuggets is I don't think people are worried about once they get to the playoffs. Like, they have a championship. Like, and Nikola Jokic is playing great basketball. But that's the issue. You can't have a 60-point triple-double and 40-point triple-doubles and losing those basketball games. It's one thing to say that they're on a slide because they're trying to manage an elbow injury, let's just say, for Nikola Jokic. Or, hey, he's just not right now. His cardio's a little bit off. His triple-doubles are 15, 12, and 10. Like, epic performances like that. Somebody else needs to step up for that basketball team, and they have the players to do it, but they're just not performing. And also, the alarming rate of, let's just say they don't play great basketball, and they go from the 4th seed to the 8th seed at that point, or something like that, which is crazy. It sounds crazy, but 1 or 2 losses where you might finish 500 the rest of the way, and the other 2 teams are going 3-1 or 4-1 or 5-1 down the stretch, however many games they got back. No choice but you're out of it here. So playing not your best basketball at the end of the season when you desperately need to be in tune with the playoffs to make a championship run, and if your seeding drops, that hurts you, that's a tough scene there.
DRS, the Denver Nuggets at the All-Star break were 36-19, riding a very lengthy win streak. They won their first game out of the break, 37-19. From that moment, they are 10-13. It's not atrocious, but it's not the basketball you want to be playing, of course, rounding into your best form entering the postseason, including this 4-game slide. It may be more concerning than 10-13. They've covered 5 times since the All-Star break in 24 total games. Again, not where Denver wants to be. The championship pedigree is there. But to Donnie's point, they only have a half-game lead over those cluster of 4 teams, all with the same record at 46-32. The Clippers and the Warriors right now, based on tiebreakers, the advantages. They would be out of a play-in tournament. The 5 seed would be L.A. The 6 seed would be Golden State. And Golden State with Jimmy Butler, since he played in his first game, DRS, in a Dubs uniform, is now 21-6. Golden State playing really good basketball, but still in danger of having to be in the play-in tourney in the Western.
And also, like, the expectations of the Minnesota Timberwolves coming into the season. You know, you make the change from Karl-Anthony Towns over to Julius Randle from a team that played very well last year. Still playing good basketball at 46-32, but if the season ended today, they're in the play-in round. So it's not as if, like, you look at the East, it's like, look at these teams in the play-in round. Like, eventually they're going to get washed out, but they're just happy to be there. You're taking a look at championship pedigree teams fighting for their playoff lives right now from a 1-game playoff that they might run themselves into. And it's a shame that the Dallas Mavericks, with Anthony Davis back into it, still hovering around that 10 spot, and what you're getting out of the Phoenix Suns, who lost 6 games in a row without Kevin Durant's services here, they're completely bottoming out, because you would have Kyrie Irving and then also, you know, layered up ability where they probably wouldn't be sitting at 38-41. So the Western Conference, it seems, on a year-to-year basis, top to bottom is always better than the Eastern Conference, but the heavyweights in the Eastern Conference certainly going to weigh into it. But watching down the stretch where an NBA season that doesn't give us a lot to cheer for, the Western Conference finish is going to be interesting outside of those top couple seeds.
DRS, exactly 1 week from today, the NBA's play-in tournament begins with the 7-8 matchups in both conferences. So that means out west, as of this moment, it would be in the Twin Cities between the Timberwolves and the Grizzlies. Memphis on a slide as well. A very tumultuous second half of this season. The dismissal of their head coach, Taylor Jenkins, just a few days ago. Memphis has won 2 straight, though, after a 5-game slide to be at that 46-32 number. I still need one more win for the Grizz in their final 4 to go over their preseason win total bet of 46.5. Memphis will play Minnesota down the home stretch of this regular season as well in their final 4 games. Let's talk about those Western Conference odds, as it does correlate, DRS, to what we are seeing here in those postseason positions. Again, Oklahoma City, 12.5 game lead, better than anybody else in the Western Conference in that number 1 overall spot. They've already clinched. They will have home floor advantage as of this moment the entirety of the postseason, however long they are there, even in to the NBA Finals. It's why they are $1.50 minus money favorite. But when you have a minus 150 favorite for the Thunder before the postseason has even begun, of course, there could be some value. Of those teams, not named Oklahoma City, who catches your eye? Still
the Clippers, 14-1, playoff tested. You got experienced Kawhi Leonard healthy at the right time. Hopefully James Harden stays healthy as well, and also our guy Norm Powell. But the Denver Nuggets also have a pedigree at a 9-1 price. We're not talking about winning the championship, just making the championship round at getting those price points. And then once again, number 2 in the standings, Number 7 in the odds market is the Houston Rockets, 28-1. I'm not advocating saying that the Rockets are going to run to the championship and knock off the Boston Celtics or the Cleveland Cavaliers, but just the disrespect of that number where it's like, hey, you guys had a good season, and yeah, you're the 2 seed, but you're the 7th overall number on the FanDuel Sportsbook. I can't buy into that at that point here. So from a playoff perspective, for me, Clippers 14-1, Rockets 28-1.
The Rockets are a young team, but they do have Ime Udoka in his second year, of course, an experienced head coach. With home floor advantage and where the odds look right now, they would be an underdog against teams that have to get out of the play-in tournament. Does strike me strange. Again, I have a 17-1 number on the Rockets that I hope gets a little bit better by the time we start the playoffs, and I hope at least I can find some cash out value or some hedging opportunities throughout the postseason. By the way, the Clippers have won 4 straight and 14 of their last 7. Eastern Conference, we go next. A look at the Eastern Conference playoff standings with only 5 days remaining in the NBA regular season. DRS, unlike the Western Conference, where basically everything is still up for grabs outside of the number 1 overall seed, not much in reality that is still outstanding in the Eastern Conference playoff picture. The Cavaliers have not officially clinched the top spot in the Eastern Conference, but with a 4-game advantage over the reigning champs in the Celtics, with just 4 games remaining, and tonight at home as a 12-point favorite against the Chicago Bulls. The magic number to be 1 is 1 for Cleveland. And then again, will make official the conversation we have been having for the large part of the last 2.5 months. Boston has the championship pedigree. The Celtics are a -150 favorite to win the Eastern Conference crown, and yet they will not have home floor advantage. It's going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers.
It is going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers, and all season, like, they're 62-16. And again, we're still doubting them only because it's the Boston Celtics and the championship pedigree and how strong that lineup looks when it's fully healthy and intact. We'll see if that lineup, by the way, is fully healthy and intact tonight here going up against the New York Knicks. But in the playoffs, I don't want to doubt the Cavaliers. And I don't want anything to say, like, because their season start was so phenomenal. And I just said they're 62-16, which is crazy. But I think people are looking like, oh, only 6-4 in their last 10, lost their last game. They're rounding in the form for the playoffs. I don't put a lot of stock in unless those seeding purposes games, particularly out in the Western Conference, are going to, like, angle up.
Right.
The Cavaliers don't worry about winning games. They're going to be the number 1 seed. They're not going to lose 4 games out. They'll have number 1 overall. And the most important thing is don't get there with a Donovan Mitchell sprained ankle, quad injury, or a groin injury at that point. That's all I'm looking forward to. But I got to tell you, like, yes, everybody should be worried about the Celtics. Celtics are 58-20, though. They're not like the Dodgers where you expect them to go 162-0. They lose 2 games. Like, oh, my goodness, what's wrong with them? I actually believe, like, the Cavaliers, 33-6 at home and also 29-10 on the road. They should beat the Boston Celtics. But until we see it, people are going to doubt it. It's the way it is.
They are not going to be favored to do that if that is the projected Eastern Conference Finals matchup. We keep hammering the point, but Boston won't be inside TD Garden like they were last year on their way to winning championship banner number 18. Maybe it doesn't matter for this year's Celtics team. They're 32-7 on the road. It is the best away from home record around the entirety of the association. 4 games, though, between Cleveland and Boston this year, split 2 apiece and split in the home and home. Both teams lost once at home, and both teams, of course, then won once on the road against that opponent. And Boston is going to be the 2 seed. They've got an 8-game advantage over the New York Knicks. The Knicks at home tonight against the Celtics. Not only a big game, DRS, to try to wrap up the number 3 seed in the Eastern Conference, but really a prove-it spot for New York, who will play both the C's and the Cavs down the home stretch in the final week of this NBA regular season. As it has been well reported, New York is 0-6, both straight up and against the number, against both Boston and Cleveland this year. It is why there is such a large distinction among those top 2 teams in the Eastern Conference, both standings and odds board.
No, and again, proof is in the pudding, as we like to say. Like, you can beat every one of those, smaller teams across the league yourself and say, yeah, we're going to beat those up. But when you start to play the upper echelon teams, we are going to look at that record. Because even if you struggled, let's just say, with the bottom 6 teams in the NBA, hey, only 3-3 against those teams, but you do have wins against the Boston Celtics and the OKC Thunder, you can sort of level that advantage. That's a big game tonight in the Garden. Not because it changes seeding purposes or if the Celtics says, oh, no, are they not right for the playoffs? It's just that one of those, file it away.
Yeah.
We beat the Celtics down the stretch. Our guy is back in the lineup in Jalen Brunson. Now we're ready for the playoffs. It'll be a bad look. Brunson comes back. Nothing changes. 10-point loss at home to the Celtics. Bad look that would be.
Inside MSG tonight, the Knicks are an ever-so-slight favorite.
Yep.
A point in -112 on the money line. They have been the underdog in 5 of the first 6 matchups against both Cleveland and Boston this year. Elsewhere, DRS around the Eastern Conference standings, really not much to report. The Knicks have a 3-game lead over the Pacers for the 3-4 split. Indiana 3 games in front of Milwaukee. The Bucks without Damian Lillard, but some really strong play from Giannis down the stretch. A 1.5-game advantage over the Pistons. And all 4 play-in tourney teams in the Eastern Conference firmly locked into those spots. We could see a change from Chicago and Miami for who hosts the 9-10 matchup, but not much there. Again, when you go back to the odds board, that is why you see such large gaps in the prices. Minus 150 for Boston, plus 185 for Cleveland, 13-1 on New York. Donnie, do you think anybody else will be in the Eastern Conference Finals?
No.
Except those top 2 teams?
No, I don't. And again, maybe the Knicks can catch some fire because the overall talent for the Knicks, and they do have a playoff pedigree last year, getting so injured and so banged up and still winning a few playoff series, maybe they can do it. But I'll tell you one thing. Like, the NBA can't be happy with the Magic, Hawks, Bulls, and Heat in the play-in rounds. Who is watching that?
I think that's been the play-in tournament for the last 3 years. All 4 of those teams. I know Orlando was not a season ago, but it's basically rinse and repeat. Final week of the 2024-25 NBA regular season. Just 5 days remain until regular season finale Sunday, where all 30 NBA clubs will have played their 82nd regular season game. Still some postseason positioning to figure out around the association. And JY, that includes in the Eastern Conference. A marquee matchup on this Tuesday night slate. A 10-game NBA docket that we have ahead, including inside Madison Square Garden. Is there a turbine?
That's a crowd noise. They love it. We're a live studio audience.
It's like Saturday night when they were doing the Severance event down here,
Fantastic.
and they would open up the door. That's the kind of enthusiasm that JY brings. New York Knicks, with one more win, clinch the number 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. The Celtics still technically alive for the number 1 overall seed as the reigning champs, but as we'll discuss in just a little bit, the Cavs double-digit home favorite tonight against Chicago. They win. They are the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. But JY, a huge game tonight inside the world's most famous arena that actually sees the Knicks as an ever so slight favorite against the C's. Total stands at 221.5. Again, from the postseason positioning standpoint, there's a little bit to figure out in the Eastern Conference. But outside of positioning, it feels like a prove-it opportunity for New York, who was 0-6 this year against both Boston and Cleveland, and 0-6 against the number as well. Will the Knicks make a statement tonight inside the Garden?
It's more than 0-6. It's 0-8 if you count Oklahoma City. Yeah. And I think every game but one, they've lost by double digits. This is the prove-it game for the Knicks. You know, and this is the first time all year that they're going to have everyone available, including Mitchell Robinson, which kind of changes the defense of the Knicks. This is a big game, and if I'm Tibbs, I have to go for it because I need this for my psyche. I need it for my team psyche, and honestly, I need it for the fan base psyche like myself, who has seen this team fumble any opportunity they've had in a big game. So I think the Knicks will try and go for it and get the win. If you want to look at anything, maybe look at that under 222, as Tibbs will probably slow this game down. Mitchell Robinson, offensive rebounding, along with shot blocking, but not an offensive threat. I think the Knicks get the win. More importantly, I think the game goes under. The Knicks will play this game tonight, Donnie, like it is a playoff matchup.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one, too, because the FanDuel Sportsbook here in New Jersey opened up as a 3-point favorite for the Boston Celtics. And as this morning moves on, as you saw that graphic at +1, now shifting actually minus 1.5 points for the New York Knicks, which does say that, yes, the Knicks are healthy, but also who's actually going to be in the starting lineup for the Boston Celtics. Understand this. Theoretically, trying to catch Cleveland, not going to catch them. Right. Do they want to say, you know what, now's the time. We're going to rotate each game here. We're not going to max things out. We're going to take our number 2 seed. But the most important thing, to be healthy by the time the playoffs start, which means we just saw a game a few days ago, Coach. Lakers and the Thunder. Sunday afternoon, most people are like, okay, I'm getting ready for the women's championship game and or tomorrow's national championship game. An absolutely unbelievable performance by the Lakers, dismantling the OKC Thunder. Now, here's what we like, Coach. Line opens up in New Jersey, minus 8.5. Say, well, that's pretty strong right there as a favorite for OKC. Yeah, maybe they handle their business. We're now up to 14.5 points here, which lets us know Luka Doncic and LeBron James maybe not playing at all in this game. So OKC, 2 touchdowns as a favorite, looking for revenge tonight.
Looking for major revenge tonight. And an Oklahoma City Thunder team that really has not put the pedal off a lot. But here's the thing. You got to keep looking every 30 minutes past the hour. The NBA will release their injury report. So you look at right now with the Lakers. Luka, questionable. LeBron, questionable. You already have Rui Hachimura out. Austin Reeves, questionable, right? So that's something to watch for. We talked about Boston. You have a bunch of those guys questionable as well. Do you punt? The interesting thing is for the Lakers, though, the West is so jammed up. Do they want to take a chance in losing a game tonight? That's the thing you have to think about. Boston, you're right. They're not going to catch Cleveland. It makes no sense. For me, if you want to rest guys tonight, you got to rest them. But that means for New York, you better win and win comfortably. But it'll be interesting what happens with the Lakers without playoff positioning in the West.
Even the Lakers at full strength are going to be an underdog tonight in OKC against OKC, especially with the Thunder try to exact revenge. But I don't think the Lakers should be taking any nights off. They have a game-and-a-half lead over the Nuggets for that 3 spot. Denver currently the 4 seed in the Western Conference. Denver only has 3 more games remaining. This will be LA's 4th to last. But again, if you're the 3 seed right now, if you were to reach the second round, you would take on the Rockets. By the odds makers, the Lakers would be a pretty hefty favorite to win that series. If you are the 4 seed and you were to reach the second round, OKC awaits with home floor advantage. It benefits the Lakers to be the 3 seed in the Western Conference, rather. It is also very interesting to see LA as a 14.5-point underdog now, and what you just mentioned about the availability report for LA, but in the prop market, which is often an indication of who is going to play, especially this early on in a day, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves all have points props out there. Do with that what you will. Luka Doncic had a 30-point performance in that road win against OKC on Sunday. The Lakers winning by nearly 30, 27 points outright as a 9.5-point underdog. Right now, JY, Oklahoma City, a minus 150 favorite to win the Western Conference crown. The Lakers actually have the second best number at plus 650. When you have such a hefty favorite in OKC as the West's number 1 seed, of course, that can provide value in many different spots for every other team that will see the postseason around the Western Conference. If you had to look at one of those long numbers, who gets your attention?
Well, to me, it's Minnesota because of the fact that they have the moxie and obviously the closer in Anthony Edwards, and then obviously game slows down. That's where maybe Rudy Gobert could be more effective in half-court defense. But to me, it's hate to say it, we said it, Knicks fans, it's about Julius Randle. Like, which Randle do you get? You get regular season Randle? You got playoff Randle. But here's the scary thing in the West, why the East is pretty much decided 1 through 6. You got to think about it. Denver, Clippers, Golden State, Minnesota, Memphis, they're all tied in the loss column. So seeds 4 through 8 have not been decided. And the Lakers are only 2 up on the 3 slot. So a lot of this is going to go to the markets are going to move, guys, because this is going to be about matchups. Who matches up with who? Lakers got to stay at 3. Listen, at the end of the day, you don't want that 4 or 5 matchup with Denver. I don't want any part of Nikola Jokic, with Jackson Hayes and Alex Len and Rui Hachimura trying to stop the Joker in a 7-game series. I don't care what happened during the regular season. Playoff basketball, Mike Malone punted on one of those games, probably both of them. I would watch out. We have to see the matchups, Ben, because that's going to dictate what's going to happen in the West.
And by the way, what's going to happen in the West might be a factor there for the Golden State Warriors playing really good basketball since acquiring Jimmy Butler. They're going to take on the Phoenix Suns tonight. This line opened up at the FanDuel Sportsbook overnight, -6 here in New Jersey, now sitting at -9.5. Total in that game, 228.5, dropping a little bit to 227 live. The Phoenix Suns, I guess they could be in tank mode at this point after Kevin Durant got injured. Their playoff hopes basically up in smoke, with the Warriors looking to exact some revenge here and say, you know what? We might be able to continue to improve our seeding. Every win matters for the Warriors right now, Coach.
Yeah, that's why you got to like Golden State. And obviously, if you've watched not just Durant being hurt, Bradley Beal, oh, my God. Like, what happened to this guy?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, by the way, shout out to Bradley Beal, best contract of all time,
Yes.
no trade clause, got himself to Phoenix, and then just, right down. So to me, Phoenix is the team to watch right now, but in the offseason, do they go for their 4th coach in 4 years?
True.
Does Kevin Durant get traded? Does Booker want out?
Sure.
Who wants Bradley Beal? Maybe the Shanghai Sharks.
Yep.
Maybe that's someplace you can send him. But there is problems in Phoenix. I would lay the wood tonight on Golden State.
Yeah, Golden State also, since Jimmy Butler entered the starting lineup, his first game against the Bulls back on February 8th, 21-6 straight up. That line doesn't feel strong enough for the direction the Suns are trending and where the Dubs are heading as well. Quickly, JY, in our final seconds together, Eastern Conference title odds, Boston the odds-on favorite, Cleveland second best price than everybody else. Is that the Eastern Conference Finals matchup already?
Yes, unless the Knicks show me something tonight with a big win. But I need everyone playing for Boston in order to think that.
Yeah, a statement win potentially for the Knicks, a slight favorite tonight
Should
at
have fade away in
MSG.
the studio?
Say what? Fade away?
Whoa,
In person?
whoa.
TCU 30-1, go get it.